My brother-in-law's new wife is insanely entitled, as she is now demanding that I take down pictures of my late sister, who passed away 3 years ago, claiming that by having pictures of her up in my house, I'm somehow disrespecting my brother-in-law's new wife, while also making it impossible for my nieces and nephews to accept her as their new mom. And at this point, I'm so deeply offended that right now I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my late sister, Anna, was married to my best friend, Josh, and together they had 2 children. My niece is 9 years old and my nephew is 7. Anna passed away 3 years ago, and Josh remarried 1 year ago, and his current wife is named Hazel. Now, I will confess that it has been awkward and uncomfortable, and my brother-in-law has admitted that he feels it too. We are still close. We're still best friends too, but it's weird and it hurts sometimes to see him with someone else. Now, I'm happy that he's happy, but Anna was my sister, so the emotions are a lot more complex, and thankfully Josh understands. My niece and nephew have struggled to accept Hazel, and my nephew doesn't really remember his mom, but my niece talks about her a lot, and my brother-in-law talks about her too. He has never wanted to forget her or erase her, or even let her memory fade. Hazel and I get along okay. We're not close, and I will admit that we don't really talk or engage much. And I will say there have been some weird moments. She didn't love me and my family being at the wedding, or taking care of the kids that day, despite the fact that my brother-in-law asked us to do it, because apparently she had wanted her parents to take care of the kids. She has also said that she finds it weird that I'm Anna's brother. While I struggle with Josh being married to someone who isn't Anna, I'm also very happy for his happiness. Well, a week ago, Hazel and I got into a fight, and it has caused some extra tension. She told me she was uncomfortable in my house, and that I needed to remove the family photos of Anna, Josh, and the kids, as well as Anna and Josh's wedding photos. And she also wanted my wedding photos removed because Anna and Josh were in them too. Now, I laughed at her at first, thinking she couldn't possibly be serious, but much to my shock, she absolutely was. She said that she always looks to see if I still have them, and then said that I should take them down and put up some of them, meaning her and Josh and the kids. She also wanted me to remove the wall of Anna's art in our dining room, and this is different paintings and drawings Anna did for me and us over the years. And then she told me that Anna's dead. Anna is in the past and she is the future. So I responded by saying that Anna is my sister and not her, and I can have photos of my sister in my home if I want to. She then told me that I can't deny her this because I even have childhood photos of Anna on the walls, and she's letting them go, even though she feels they should be gone as well. She said the kids see themselves in her kid photos, and it's making it harder for her to get into their hearts. She told me I have no right to make her so uncomfortable, and I said that she should not be this insanely entitled at the age of 32, that she should be grown enough to know that she can't dictate other people's houses. Josh then finally came in and asked Hazel to go home early, and then he asked me to have the kids 3 days last week too, which we absolutely did. Well, Hazel didn't like it, and she accused me of taking the kids out of spite so I can fill their heads with talks about Anna. Then she swore at me and called me an insensitive jerk. So seriously, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Oh my god, Hazel is the most toxic person on planet Earth. Seriously, let's think about what she's asking right now. She went into your home and said, you need to take down all the photos of your dead sister. Your sister's dead. She's no longer around. I'm the future and you need to put up pictures of me. It's like, lady, who in the world do you think you are? You're not my sister, and at this point, you might as well not be family, because her request right now is absolutely delusional. She's trying to pretend like you having pictures up of your sister is somehow disrespecting her, as well as brainwashing the kids into not accepting Hazel. Like, what in the world is she talking about? That is not what's gonna happen. And this is your home. If you wanted to dedicate your entire house to Anna, then there's nothing Hazel can do about it. Like, she really comes off as this evil stepmother that's clearly trying to replace Anna in some kind of weird way. Like, this is crazy. There's no good excuse for this. And what a horrible thing to say in general. For her to be so dismissive of your sister dying, and for her to be like, wow, I'm the future, Anna's in the past. It's like, are you kidding me right now? Anna passed away 3 years ago. That is most definitely still in recent memory. Even if it happened 15 years ago, there's no reason for her to be like, take down all photos of your sister. It needs to be all about me. So truly, you are not the jerk, and your brother-in-law's wife is absolutely out of her mind insane, because what she's asking of you is so cruel and unusual that she seriously needs to get her priorities straight and fix that awful entitled attitude. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own story. stories. Am I the jerk for feeding my sister and giving her food even though my husband doesn't want me to? Because right now he is furious that I'm thinking of her before him, and at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my sister Kelly's boyfriend is in the hospital undergoing surgery and will not be able to work for a while. Kelly is not her real name. Now Kelly has been mentioning how stressed they are trying to prepare for this surgery as well as the loss of income, and she worries that she won't be able to take care of him. Last night she called to ask if I could walk their dog tomorrow since she has been cooped up in the house while Kelly works. Now she will rarely ever ask for a favor, and I could tell she was very upset. We talked a bit more, and I asked if she needed anything I could bring with me when I came over, or even if she had eaten anything. It was then that she started crying and said that she burnt her last few eggs that morning and couldn't afford anything other than ramen, but she would be okay. She would work extra and figure it out. And when I heard that, my heart broke a little. I remember being so hungry living in my car in my late teens and then struggling with my husband in our 20s with young kids. I didn't have anyone to help me through my tough times, and I don't want her to ever feel so alone. Now we are not rich, but we are well enough off that we can afford what we need with some extras. I told Kelly I'd never let her starve, and I asked if she had any requests that I could make for her. Simple things like that will be offered to anyone that's going through a hard time, and I would do it without a second thought. She put up resistance, but said that she would take anything I was willing to give. So that night I Ubered her dinner since I couldn't make it over, but my husband seemed upset about it and said that it was nothing when I asked if he was okay and why he was so upset. I eventually let it go, as he tends to become more upset the more that you push. I made extra dinner, extra muffins, and decided that I would spend $100 on staple foods as well as a toy for the dog since we had a little bit of extra cash this month. Well, when my husband came out of our bedroom from playing Xbox after the kids were in bed and saw me organizing the things that I bought as well as writing instructions for easy recipes, he was pissed and went off. He started saying, "She never helped you like this. Why would you do all this stuff for her?" But I told him, well, she was a child when I was younger. How would she have ever helped me out? Even if that was true, that doesn't matter. Nobody deserves to go hungry, especially not family and friends. We then went back and forth, eventually with him saying, "I wasted my time and money on someone who doesn't deserve all of this. What about us? What if I want banana bread? You put nuts in it. I don't like nuts." So I responded by saying that he was being incredibly selfish. We have plenty to eat. I made a batch without nuts for him, and there's more of everything for the family. If he would just look and see what I did, I would understand if we were struggling, but I'm not going to sit idly by while Kelly goes hungry because you don't like me spending time caring for someone other than you. Well, after I said that, he stomped off and has refused to come out of our bedroom all day, besides to grab some snacks, ignoring all the food that I've made. I know he wants to apologize, but it all just feels so wrong. So seriously, am I the jerk for feeding my sister and calling my husband selfish? Because right now I'm very frustrated and I seriously don't know what to do. No, of course you're not the jerk. Your husband is being completely irrational. Why does he care about what you do and don't do for your family members, let alone feed somebody who's in dire straits? Like, that's insane, and it's so weird to me. And it also sounds like this doesn't cut into anybody's budget. So he is literally complaining about nothing. And that, in my opinion, is so unfair. So no, you are definitely not the jerk, and I think what you're doing for Kelly is incredibly kind and very considerate. Am I the jerk for telling a coworker that it was completely justified that she got sent home early from the office after she snuck in her dog, which is something that is absolutely against the rules? Here's what happened. Okay, so today at the office, a woman walked in with a fairly big dog who did not seem very well trained. It was very obviously pulling on the leash and kept trying to approach different people. So I expressed my doubts that this dog was a service animal. Now, seeing as this was the office where pets are not allowed, that meant I expressed my doubts this dog was even allowed to be there in the first place. Now, I did not make a problem of it, and I didn't go over to the reception to report it or anything like that. I simply mentioned it and moved on. Well, a coworker heard me and mentioned that she had also brought in a dog last week because it couldn't be left alone and that she was sent out of the building. I told her that non-service animals didn't belong here, so if she truly brought in a dog, then it was justified that they sent her away. Well, she seemed to get annoyed and said back that the dog hadn't hurt anybody, and if she was expecting to be at the office, she didn't really have a choice. Now, let me just say that I don't dislike animals, but I do hate people who act entitled to bring their animals everywhere. I have an allergy for dogs. Fortunately, it is pretty mild, so as long as it's just a couple of hours, I'm alright. I might have a bit of itchy eyes, but nothing serious. I do also know someone who is allergic enough that she can't even visit friends who have pets because she would get get breathing issues already. So I responded that the responsibility of the dog was hers, and that there are people who are bothered by dogs, either because of allergies or fear, or whatever other reason they might have. Those people are expected at the office too, and that her desire to have a dog should not negatively impact people who are just going to work. Well, after that, she was cold all day, and several of my colleagues told me that I should just lighten up and that dogs can liven up the place in general. Now, considering dogs aren't allowed anyways, so it is kind of a moot point, I'm wondering, am I the jerk for telling her that it was justified that she was sent home after she took her dog with her to work? Because right now, I really don't know what to do. No, I don't think you're the jerk. Some people are just awful dog owners, and they definitely should not bring their dog to the office. Like seriously, some people just suck at training their dogs, and how are you supposed to know whether that dog's going to behave or not? Because there's a rule for a reason that you can't bring your pets to work. And if that wasn't the case, then people would bring their cats, birds, and pretty much anything they want. I'm not trying to say there's a slippery slope fallacy going on here, but for the sake of this office being a place of work and of business, this rule really does make sense. Because otherwise, people would absolutely take advantage of that and bring their animals with them all the time. So no, you're not the jerk for speaking the truth to your coworker. Because if she snuck her dog into the office and got sent home as a result, then that is truly her problem and not yours. My boyfriend does not want me to come to his jiu-jitsu competitions, as he says that he's too nervous when I'm there and that he feels like I'm a distraction anytime I show up. And now, at this point, I feel like I'm the bad guy because right now I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I'm a 21-year-old female and my boyfriend is 24. We've been together for 7 months and we have had some issues. He trains in jiu-jitsu for the last 2 years and has competed a few times. I went to his last competition and he told me he didn't want me to come to his next few tournaments because he is nervous and he felt that I was a distraction last time I went. He said that it's fine if his friends come along, but if I come, it's different because I'm his girlfriend. Keep in mind, I'm a ballet dancer and I don't know anything about the sport that he does, and I am just there for support. I was pretty upset when he told me he didn't want me there because why would he not want his girlfriend to come support him? Everyone knows he has a girlfriend too, and when they ask, hey, why didn't your girlfriend come along? What is he gonna tell them? He told me I wasn't being understanding and that it has nothing to do with me, and if I had a competition where I didn't want him there, then he would understand. So now I feel like I'm the bad guy, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Okay, first and foremost, I need to give some personal information about me because I also train jiu-jitsu. It's something I've done for about a year and it is a lot of fun, but also it is incredibly stressful and very hard. It's demoralizing, it's very humbling, and you literally get your butt kicked every single day. So when your boyfriend says he doesn't want you there and no, it's not personal, trust me when I say this, he really does mean that. Especially when it comes to competitions, these are incredibly stressful. It's scary because most times you don't know who you're going against, and there's always this lingering thought of, oh man, is this the day that I get injured and I can't do this sport for like 6 months? So truly, I don't blame your boyfriend in the slightest for him saying, look, just stay away from the tournaments, it's too stressful and I'm way too nervous. Because from my own experience, this sport can be very embarrassing, and to have someone that you care so much about watching that all take place, it can really take a mental toll that is really hard to come back from. So no, you're not a bad person and you haven't done anything wrong, but I completely understand where your boyfriend's coming from, and I think that you absolutely should respect his wishes. Am I overreacting by refusing to travel with my dad's useless rich friend ever again? Because after the trip that we just had, I seriously hope I never have to deal with him ever again. Here's what happened. So my dad invited me to a trip to another state for a couple of days, and I was excited as I've been burned out for the past couple of weeks. For reference, I'm 23 years old and my dad is 55. He also said that his friend Kyle, who's 50 years old, would also be coming along, and I said no problem. I've known Kyle since I was a kid and we always got along, but I had no idea how useless this guy really is. For starters, Dad and Kyle almost lost their flight because Kyle woke up late. It's worth mentioning that Kyle is also very rich. He's always like, well, if I miss it, I'll just buy a new ticket. And he did that multiple times. When we got to the Airbnb, you know, the one that he chose, he proceeded to complain for what felt like an hour. He didn't realize that it was only 2 bedrooms, and he was outraged that they weren't suites. Like, dude, did you not read the description or check the pictures before booking? We were planning to leave by 9 o'clock the next day, but he didn't wake up until 10 o'clock in the morning. Dad said that it was our responsibility to tell him to wake up, when to get ready, what time we were leaving, and all of that. And yeah, that was weird, but okay, I guess. He then almost caused a fire because he went for a shower and forgot his bread on the toaster while me and Dad did a grocery run. He also couldn't make any decisions at all. He contributed nothing to the planning and would complain about some of our choices but never offer anything. He kept repeating over and over again that he is down for whatever we decide to do and would offer no help or opinions on where to go next or what to do. On the last dinner when we were seated on the table, he literally looked at my dad and said, "You guys just tell me where to sit." And it was a choice between the booth or a chair. And I was thinking to myself, what is going on? Another rant worth mentioning was his backpack. He bought a carry-on size backpack to use as a day pack and kept complaining that it was too big. Also, the weather was not what he expected. It was raining and he wanted to stay another day, but we refused. He's got legit insane dietary restrictions, but would not tell us what he could eat. He would only say, "Oh, just pick a place and I'll find something." But if we're going to a restaurant, I want him to be able to enjoy it as well. I could tell even my dad was getting angry at some points, and I actually snapped twice at Kyle for being unable to have any opinions or make any decisions. Dad eventually told me to drop it, but nothing further. And honestly, I could go on and on about this guy. After the trip, I told him that as much as I appreciated going out with them for a couple of days, I will not be traveling with Kyle anymore, even if it means me and my dad won't see each other as often. I mean, it is way too stressful. It feels like traveling with a kid that has money. It's okay that my dad likes this arrangement where Kyle pays and he plans it all, but I absolutely hate it. That being said, Kyle did pay for like 80% of the expenses. Dad says I'm overreacting, and this really was the price of a free trip. So am I in the wrong for the way I feel about Kyle? What should I do? Honestly, I think overall I kind of side with your dad on this one. Kyle quite literally paid for 80% of everything that happened during this trip. The guy is clearly loaded, and he wanted to treat you and your dad to something fun. So I think at the very least, you could at least pretend to be like grateful to have this opportunity or something like that, because seriously, this is a fun getup. Like if I went on a trip with my dad and he had a rich friend who was paying for almost everything, I would be willing to put up with a lot of awkwardness just to make sure that trip happens. Because sure, his behavior is a little weird, and it really does come off as someone with money who's like not really sure what he's doing, and he needed help figuring out like the smallest parts of whatever he was doing. But like that in and of itself is not really that serious, and I can personally put up with that if that means that we get to have a really cool trip of some kind. So yeah, I do think you might be overreacting to an extent, but I also do understand where you're coming from, because this guy did come off as really weird, and I can definitely see why this would rub you the wrong way. Am I the jerk for kicking the babysitter out of my house, as well as refusing to pay her after she brought her dog with her to babysit my newborn child? Here's what happened. So my wife and I planned a night out with friends. We have a 13-month-old, so we got our babysitter, who is a 20-year-old female, to come over for the night. We expected to be home around midnight, so we were paying for around 5 to 6 hours at $20 an hour. So she comes over, we thank her, and then we Uber over to meet up. Well, my idiot self forgot my wallet at home about 15 minutes away, so I ended up ordering an Uber to take me back home so I can run in and grab my wallet. As a side note, my wife stayed back and I planned to head back as soon as possible. Well, when I came back home, there was a black lab sitting in the middle of my living room. Now here's the thing. I do not have pets, and my wife and I don't ever want pets. Plus, with the current age of my son, I don't want any pets around him. So I go up to the babysitter and I have to ask her. I say to her, "Where did this dog come from?" She then tells me that it's her dog, stating that her boyfriend dropped it off with dinner that he brought her. She then tried to assure me that the dog was kid-friendly, and she said that the dog was 11. It was just an old dog that would just be chill. Well, when she said that, I was honestly just not okay with it, and I told her this straight up and started to lecture her. Now, I could tell that she felt like she did nothing wrong and tried stating her case in some kind of way, but at that point, I had had enough. So I told her that she needed to leave and that I would not be paying her, and I just straight up kicked her out of the house. She then proceeded to argue, but I just wasn't having any of it. She then said that she wanted money, and I called my wife and I let her know what happened. Well, I ended up staying home for the night, and the babysitter texted us continuing to defend herself, and then she asked me to pay her the $120 that she was expecting. Needless to say, I don't plan on using her in the future, but seriously, am I the jerk in this scenario for kicking out the babysitter after she brought in a dog that I definitely did not agree to be in my house? What should I do? Oh man, this really upsets me because what this babysitter did is so inappropriate. First of all, you don't bring a pet into someone else's house without discussing this first. Like, you have no idea if they have an allergy to dogs or if the baby itself itself is allergic to dogs. Like, this babysitter is an absolute idiot for allowing that to happen, or even assuming that this was acceptable behavior. Like, this really is so out of pocket, it's not even funny. And it's so awful that she really tried to defend her decision and be like, wait a second, he's an old dog. He's just gonna hang out and chill. Nothing's gonna happen. He's really kid-friendly, by the way. It's fine. And sure, maybe he is kid-friendly, but how on earth is the original poster supposed to know that? They don't know this dog at all, and they definitely did not agree to have it in their house. So the fact that she tried to argue against that when she was clearly in the wrong is just mind-blowing to me. But the icing on the cake here is the fact that she still demanded money for babysitting. And it's like, I'm sorry, that is not happening. You were not there for the full amount of time, so for you to be like, wait, you need to pay me the $120. I'm expecting that money. It's like, okay, but I was expecting you to babysit and not bring your dog over. So no, you are definitely not the jerk, because this idiot absolutely deserved to be kicked out of your house. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.